I'm here with Dr. Patricia Edwards. She is a professor of language and literacy in the Department of Teacher Education and a senior university outreach fellow at Michigan State University, a nationally and internationally recognized expert in parental involvement, home, school, community partnerships, multicultural literacy, early literacy, and family intergenerational literacy, especially among poor and minority children. Dr. Patricia Edwards, thank you for joining us today, and how are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm glad the semester is almost over. Yes, well, excuse me, should I say I'm glad the semester is over, just grading papers.
Good for you. So I wanted to ask you about family engagement. You know, sometimes we kind of get confused between parental involvement, family engagement. Can you define these terms for us?
Yes. Family engagement in schools is a shared responsibility in which schools and other community agencies and organizations are committed to reaching out to engage parents in meaningful ways, and the parents are committed to actively supporting their children's learning and development. So it's more than just the family, it's the community as well. Parent engagement in schools is defined as parents and school staff working together to support and improve the learning development and health of children and adolescents.
Oh, I see. I don't know if I realized that myself, so thank you for clarifying that.
Yes, and of course, family involvement serves to promote and support the social, emotional, physical, academic, and occupational growth of youth. And successful family involvement relies on meaningful collaboration among youth, families, schools, employers, and agencies.
So some of our schools right now are probably allocating funds towards parental involvement and family engagement, both of those activities. What are some activities do you think that school districts could do in order to best utilize these funds?
Well, one of the things that I have constantly supported, because I worked in a professional development school for 4 years, and parent involvement continues to be high rhetoric, low practice. So we've talked about ice cream socials, spaghetti dinners, and that's a type of parent involvement event. But one of the things that I'm suggesting is that schools do curriculum-based parent involvement. We are in a high assessment era where schools and their performance are under a microscope. And in order for schools to really have impact, is that their test scores are high. So I always say to schools that the curriculum should be the focus, because everything else is great to have, but at the end of the school year, if children are not performing any better, then schools get criticized. So I focus on what I call curriculum-based parent involvement. At each grade level, there are certain skills that children should accomplish. And if they don't, then the teacher is left and the school is left being criticized. So I suggest involving parents in curriculum-based parent involvement. I also encourage teachers and schools to collect data. We live in a data-driven society. I always say to schools that doctors collect family histories, lawyers collect depositions, architects collect a lot of information about our lifestyles, and that schools should collect what I call family literacy histories to understand how literacy was constructed in the family, so therefore they can build and reinforce what children bring to school. Parents are their children's first and most influential teachers. So what I'm suggesting is that the schools access parents' knowledge about their children, because children are with their families or somewhere outside of the school setting 17 and a half hours, and they're only in school for 6.5 hours. And so I'm asking schools to tap into parents' perceptions of their children's literacy development.
Oh, I see.
Teaching is not an exact science, and there's so much that teachers don't know, and it's so much that tests don't tap into. But parents can provide that out-of-school sort of notion of what did they do to participate in their children's lives, because children don't come to school as empty vessels. They come from different backgrounds, communities, literacy histories, and I think that is a rich source of information to help teachers teach other people's children.
I've had some teachers tell me that some of their parents are hesitant to come to the school. How do we make it an inviting environment for parents to join us?
Well, one of the things we should do is that we should get to understand the community, and that's how you can use community people to encourage, because I always tell teachers and principals that school is a microcosm of society, that there are people in the community that could help you invite parents to school, because sometimes parents have their own perceptions of school, and people in their social world, meaning ministers, community people, might have more influence on getting them to come to school. And I always ask teachers to say, if you want parents to come to school, what is it that you want them to come to see? Because a lot of times we say come to school, and parents are not clear why they should be there. Of course, parents come to programs. If you're having spaghetti dinners or ice cream socials, parents come to those kind of events. But when they do come, what is it that teachers want to engage them in? I guess that's the question I would ask. And that the school should be the most inviting place in town. And if parents are not coming, then it's important for teachers to try to figure out what is happening, or to engage the positive parents to get a sense of the community.
Have you done this successfully? And if so, can you describe it for us?
My whole career for the last 30 years has been working on inviting and getting parents to come to school. And one of the things that I did when I was living in Louisiana, I had a town meeting. And in a town meeting, you bring the community folks together. And you have a conversation with them about the goals and aspirations that they have for their community. So I had hairdressers, barbers, shop people, bar owners, school bus drivers. I had all of the people that make up the community to come to school and have a conversation. We did not meet at the school. We met at a community center, because some people feel as if everybody owns the community center, and for whatever reason, some people don't feel comfortable coming to school. But the second meeting I had with them was at the school, and we all talked about the various roles that we should play. So I use Rothenbrenner's model of the parent social world and the child social world. And I think that's a way of having a conversation with people, because for some reason, people sometimes think when they send their children to school, they don't have to do anything else. And I do think a part of that is the way in which we've trained teachers over the years, because we don't train them to deal with their clients. We train them in curriculum and methods, but we don't train them to engage the people they're going to be working with. So I found that the town meeting, getting various people saying the same message, whether it's the hairdresser, whether it's the local grocery store, and in Michigan we have Meijer and we have Kroger and we have different grocery store chains, having Future Teachers of America, high school students at the grocery stores on Saturday advertising and talking about programs. I've had students at the mall that talk about what's happening in school. And I always say to community people that we need to advertise education the way we advertise sports. And that academics and athletics are different, but they also are connected, because athletics, everybody gets involved. So why is it that people are not getting involved in school? It's because we don't give them all the reasons why they should be there. And so that has been extremely successful for me, is getting ministers preaching from their pulpits, about the importance of literacy, and that's what I did in Louisiana, having the bar owner talk to the parents about why they should be involved in school. So they were getting inundated with various voices in the same message.
I know that you teach novice teachers. What kind of advice do you give to them surrounding family and parental engagement?
Well, one of the things that I told them, there is no one-size-fits-all, and I have introduced the concept of parent stories to my pre-service teachers. One of the things, since Michigan State has a 5-year program, I tell them they might be in a setting as a part of their internship that might not even look closely to what they might be doing their first year of teaching. So I introduced this whole notion of social equity teaching, and by that, you're getting to know the people that you're going to be teaching. What might work in one setting might not exactly work in another setting. So showing them how to modify and adapt what they do based on the students that are sitting in front of them, which would be getting to know the families and children that they're dealing with. I'm in the process now of writing, well, we should know by mid-January whether or not this proposal has been accepted, but I'm working with a group of graduate students and one colleague on a book entitled Preparing Teachers to Re-Envision Family Needs and Interactions. And so what we're trying to do is have students deal with modules that will show them how to engage with a variety of different kinds of families. Say, for example, and instead of saying families this time, we're saying caregiver, because in some places there is not the parent present. So we're talking to them. We have a module on incarcerated families, homeless caregivers, non-responsive caregivers, illiterate caregivers, and we're writing modules. And we have a guy that's working with us, a faculty member. His name is Dr. Rand Spiro, and he developed this whole theory of cognitive flexibility. And by that, it's a theory of learning and instruction for adaptive performance in complex real-world domains. Simply put, that a situation can be seen from multiple perspectives, and that's what we're going to be using. If a student did that, if a teacher did this, there might be a possible consequence. If they did that, it might be a possible consequence and outcome. And so we're kind of excited about that, because a lot of times teachers don't get a chance to practice before they're confronted with a situation. So that's what I'm currently working on, like looking at immigrant and refugee parents, looking at extended, reconstituted, and blended families. So what we're trying to do is give them a preview of the kinds of situations and circumstances they might be confronted with once they go into the field. So we are excited about this.
Yeah, I can't wait to read that.
It's going to be published hopefully by Teachers College. And let me tell you what I did specifically, Carol. Mm-hmm. I decided I'm working with 5 young white women, and they come from various backgrounds. And I asked them to look at their own teaching, and they have varying levels of experience. And I said to them, what were circumstances and situations that you were faced with that you wish you had some practice before it being sort of like in your face? And so I'm excited about that, because they were the ones that came up with a lot of these topics. I came up with some, but they came up with ones that they felt that teachers that look like them would need to know about. And I was excited about that. So even though we're advertising this particular book to all teachers, but we're looking at the demographics. As minority teachers die, retire, burn out, change professions, we're basically going to have middle-aged, and young white women teaching other people's children.
Yep.
And so that's one of the reasons I tapped into it. But one of my colleagues, and she's also a co-author with me on a book called Bridge and Literacy and Equity, Althea Lazar works at St. Joseph's College, University in Philadelphia. And what she shared with me is that it's a small Jesuit Catholic university, is that the minority teachers who go there are upper middle class students, and they view sometimes inner city black children the way white teachers do. And so even though they are black teachers, their experiences don't line up with the kinds of kids in these inner city settings.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that fascinating. So I do think that one of the holes I see in teacher preparation programs is that we don't show teachers how to deal, because these are the issues that could make them stop teaching altogether. And so what we're trying to do is get our hands around these issues to say, hey, teacher educators, you need to look at teaching as a profession. I know when I was in college, we used to always have this discussion. Is teaching a profession? Is it a science? Is it an art? And I think it's all three. And I do think now, since we're in the second decade of the new millennium, we're going to have to show teachers how to deal with client management. And client management involves dealing with all kinds of families and issues and circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that I saw a statistic stating that within the first 5 years, people make their decision as to whether or not they're actually going to stay in the profession or leave the profession. I'm glad that you're addressing that, because some of the reasons why people leave are because they don't understand the clientele that perhaps they're working with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. And also, a lot of students live in communities where they've not met other kinds of people. And we talk a lot about being a border crosser, but it's easier talked about than actually dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was just talking to one of the students that's working with me on this project, and she said that this young lady left Michigan, goes out to Arizona, and she has a completely Hispanic classroom and struggled. So she ended up deciding to go to another type of school because it was a little bit over her head.
Sure, absolutely.
Like, just working with second language parents. I mean, that's a whole different scenario. And I do think it's important that teacher preparation programs give teachers previews to what they might have to deal with the way doctors do. I know when I was in school, I got an educational specialist at Duke, and I used to participate in moot court, where lawyers get a chance to practice, on people. But I don't think just going out, having them do a one-on-one with the student is going to show them how to teach, because then they're going to get completely, like when they go out to teach, they're not teaching one-on-one. They're going to be dealing with 25 to 30 children in various households, various literacy traditions, various ways of interacting with schools that can really be a jolt on them. And I don't think those are some of the issues. I think sometimes we focus so much on methodology and what's a good teaching strategy for one group of students is not going to necessarily be a good teaching strategy for another group of students.
Absolutely.
And I know, in getting back to the work I did in Louisiana, what I found is that teachers do a lot of telling. And in this particular school, there were 726 children. 80% of them were black, low-income black kids, 20% low-income white children, 35 white teachers, 4 black teachers, white principal, black assistant principal. And I always give those demographics. What was happening is the student clientele in that elementary school in this small town had changed drastically over a 25-year period. Mm-hmm. And the teachers were telling all of the right things. But what was happening is that their clientele were young parents And a lot of these parents didn't understand the schooling process. And so it was like two trains passing by each other in the night and not making any connections. So the black parents were saying that the teachers didn't like them because they were black if they could change colors. Which, I think when we get into these isms of, and that's what happens when kids are struggling in school. People want to find somebody to blame. So the black parents were saying the teachers didn't like them because they were black. The white parents were saying the teachers didn't like them because they were poor. And then we had a standoff. So when I went in there, as it turns out, it was not about race in class. It was about literacy. Teachers not understanding how to connect with the parents, and the parents not understanding how to connect with the school. So it's like the six-man of Henry saying they're all partly in the right. They got to work together, but they're not connecting. And I find that in a lot of schools, that's what the scenario is. It's like it escalates in a way that sometimes if you don't have a big intervention, it can't be solved. So I go in there, and I met with the African American parents, and they were all giggling because they thought I was going to be white because I was coming from LSU, and I told them I was. That's Louisiana State University at the time. And I told them I was white. I was just pretending to be black. And so they saw how stupid that was, and I said to them, parents, look, teachers have benchmarks they have to follow. Teachers did not make up the standards by which they have to apply in school. So what I need you to do is understand, and I'm going to spend this year working with you on understanding school-based literacy. And I think so often people come in and they get a stalemate. If people don't understand the curriculum, and everybody in one group has to enforce it, and the other one has to respond to it, and there is no intervention, we're going to spiral out of control. And I think that's what has happened in a lot of schools. And so at the end of the school year, once I developed the Parents as Partners and reading program and talking your way to literacy, because I realized that about 40% of the parents had low literate skills. And it was like teachers were assuming that parents understood what they meant when they simply asked the question, read to your child. And as I've gone around the country, I've told teachers that read to your child is a very simple teacher directive, but it's a very complex task for parents that don't understand what that means, because parents are not trained to be parents. Teachers are trained to be teachers. And so if you want parents to do something, that's when I go back to the curriculum. You need to shift from telling to showing. What is it that you mean? Because, we go to the doctor and our pediatrician is talking about something. They show us what they're talking about. They don't just tell us, because we're not doctors. And that's what I'm asking teachers to do, is use your expert knowledge to show parents. Because obviously, I do, and of course, teachers will say when parents don't respond in the ways they want them to, that the parents don't care. I do think that parents don't care. It's just that there's a thin line between insecurity and rigidity. If you're asking me to do something and you say it louder and I don't respond because I don't understand how to do it, then it's going to morph into me not liking you as the teacher. So that's kind of something that I think schools need to think about. And that leads me to something that I did when I came up here to Michigan. The school where I worked for 4 years, the professional development school, that school was built in 1952, but when I went to the school, it was 1990. The demographics of that community had changed. In 1952, it was the first time homeowners community where the school was the hub. All of the parents had already figured out where their kids were going to college. Either they were going to Michigan State or Michigan or some other school in the state of Michigan or outside the state of Michigan. But when I got there in 1990, it was a renter's transient trailer park connected to that school and downtown inner city Lansing. And the teachers were still operating as if it was 1952. You don't have the same inhabitants. In the 1950s, 90% of the mothers were stay-home mothers. 1990, most of the mothers were working 3 and 4 jobs. And I do think that I talk about doing school demographic profiles to see who you're dealing with, because you might not be able to have parents come during the day and do what they did back in the day. And so demographic profiles are important for schools to take a look at who's in their school. How can we work with families in different kinds of ways, which leads to the new book that I wrote, New Ways to Engage Parents. And I'm looking at the nowadays, not the yesterdays, and making the argument that what we have to do is figure out new and different kinds of ways, of course, of dealing with families. Now, a lot of teachers want parents to come for parent-teacher conferences. Well, when parents are working, you might have to set up Zoom. You might have to send text messages to parents, because almost everybody has a cell phone. I know universities have used that. If something is about to happen on campus, within seconds you know, and everybody checks their cell phone. So what I'm saying is schools have to think of new and different kinds of ways of dealing with parents. Putting up videos where parents can access them at any time of the night, rather than saying you have to come during the school day. One of the things that I would say, Carol, is that schools don't build in why parents should be involved. If a coach wants your child involved in hockey or t-ball, you are given the dates and times way in advance, so you can arrange your driving schedule or whatever around your child getting to where they need to go. Schools sometimes don't do that. People organize their lives in August. So I'm asking schools to let parents know what the trajectory of what they want them to be involved in for the year given in August, so parents can put it as part of their schedule. And if a parent has more than one child, to make sure that homework or expectations are not done on one night. Because a parent might be a good first grade parent, but not a good fifth or third grade parent based on the curriculum. So another thing that I did was create what I call parent informant literacy groups, where what do you want me to do as a first grade parent versus a second grade parent versus a third grade parent? And I found that to be extremely effective, because parents then knew what the teacher wanted them to do. And at the professional development school where I did work, for kindergarten, we focused on sharing time or show and tell, and we gave the parents the topics for the entire year. In first grade, we focused on emergent literacy, letting them understand that not all children emerge or develop at the same time, and they became sort of focused on what I always tell teachers that parents don't view you as a good teacher and make you a good teacher of their child. They don't care about what you do with other people's children. It's like, good job on my child. And so I had first grade, I bought a copy, all the parents had copies of Mari Clay's book, What Did I Read, What Did I Write? So they could tune into their own child's development. Second grade, we looked at the connections between reading and writing. So they were looking at the standards or the benchmarks that children were supposed to be doing. In third grade, we focused completely on writing, and we taught it to family reunions. And so we looked at the standards, and I bought them a copy of the book Family Writing. And so they were doing writing around family reunions, but the writing was connected to the standards. So at the end of the year, they would have a product. And then in fourth and fifth grade, we focused on content area reading. Mm-hmm. And so the parents were all involved because they could see that they were making a difference. They were tuned into the development of their own child. And we were building sort of like a Weight Watcher group. We were all looking at achievement of our children. And the parents loved it.
In every segment, it's about listening to parents. That's what I'm hearing you say, is that it's about asking them what their needs are and then meeting their needs and listening to them and asking them.
That's exactly right. And not making assumptions and not being disgusted when they don't know how to do something. I would say create a school climate and structures that support family involvement. And, parent involvement is not going to work unless there's a structure. So with me creating these parent-informed literacy groups, developing a scope and sequence of parent involvement, providing parents with a list of requirements and mastery skills for each subject at grade level, and then supporting them. Like, this is funny. One father said to us, you know what? You teachers, every time I look up, you're changing the way you teach math. And he says, I'm so sick of my little second grade boy saying, Dad, show me how to do it. And then I show him how to do it the way I learned how to do it when I was in second grade, which was a long time ago. And he goes, Dad, that's not the way you do it. He says, I feel when my little boy is talking to me, it's like when my wife needs me to cook dinner. And it's like, that's not the way Mama fixes it. And he says it's just intimidating. So when we could show the parents how to do it, then we kept them up. Because people have their own frozen memories of school when they were in school. Mm-hmm. And it might not be, and I think sometimes people don't think about that. And, children can give their parents a hard time. That's not the way it's done. And he says his son, he's like, Dad, I bet you 50 cents. And he says he always beat him 50 cents. And he was losing because I don't like a little second grader beating me. So I thought that was funny. And then, of course, you would invite parents to share hopes and concerns about their children, and then work together to set student goals. And that's what I was meaning when I was talking about parent stories. It's like, what are your goals? It's like I always use the medical metaphor. If you go to the hospital, the doctor will say, this is going to be a long road toward recovery, and you set your goals. Same thing with children. Like I tell parents, look, if a child was born in January and another was born in August, would you expect the one born in August to be doing exactly the same thing as the child born in January? Well, of course, you get a resounding no. I said, well, it's like Leo's a late bloomer. So you need to understand that. I use another metaphor. I said, okay, I bring out an almanac. There are times for planning, and there's a time for reaping. So based on what you put in, meaning the law of diminishing returns, I said, so therefore, the literacy coddling that you do, and they understand that, I said, that's going to produce a different kind of child based on what you put in. I said, wouldn't you, and I keep giving them all these practical suggestions, like marinated meat tastes better than meat you just threw on the grill. And you can tell a garden that has been really paid attention to and the garden that is not. And I said, children are like gardens. You have to water those gardens. You have to do so many things. So I'm telling them all of these things, and their heads are spinning around because then they know that they need to spend and make children a part of their day and finding the time. And whereas in the past, it's like, well, that's your job. You're the teacher. You just do what I'm paying you to do. But I tell parents that teachers do not have unconditional love of your children. I just feel sometimes you don't love your own middle school kids when they are hormones and tennis shoes. And then they get it. So I said, so with that being said, the first and second teacher have to work together. And the second teacher can do a much better job than the first teacher. I said, then I used the relay metaphor. I said, you remember a couple years in the relay, the women's team dropped the baton where you can't get around the track. They relate to that. But I said, that's why they have a relay. You got to run certain legs at a certain speed to get around that track to win the Olympics. So then I use another metaphor. I said, check this out. And why do you think we have the Olympics every 4 years? In that 4-year period, people going through all kinds of interim contests. I said, so if you think you can go to the Olympics in 4 months, it ain't happening. 4 weeks, it's definitely not happening. And 4 days, people would think you're crazy. You should be on the plane traveling, because usually. So I said, well, that's the way it is with children. Literacy coddling, or you can call it literacy support, or whatever. You can tell. When you put investment in something, then you reap the benefits.
So it's kind of making it relatable to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they get it. I said, look, every week, I said, when coaches coach, they better win. Otherwise, they get a pink foot. They're not going to, if you have to win. And, of course, they love Michigan State football. I said, so you got to have good players. You have to have discipline. You have to do all of those things apply to your household. If kids are staying up 1 and 2 o'clock at night, they're not going to be able to function the next day. They're going to be going to sleep. So I always tell parents, who's paying the light bill? If I'm paying the light bill, the TV goes on and off when I say so. And I had them laughing. I said, my mother used to say, there's one woman and one man in this house. When we get more than that, somebody has to move. You can't move when you're 10 years old. So you have to have some discipline in like, for example, one part of that parent story questionnaire is looking at routines. Mm-hmm. I said, school is built on a routine. And I tell them, I said, so if you feel, I said, some children don't know how to sit down, they don't know how to follow rules. I said, for the rest of your life, you're going to follow rules. So then a lot of them, I can see when I'm talking, they are like seeing the areas that they need to work on. Yeah, I said the classroom is a learning community. It's not just your child in that classroom. And I said, so there are some basic routines, and so I would give them books on just dealing with routines. Like I said, you can get a stopwatch. When the teacher says we're going to spend 15 minutes doing this, you can go to Meijer or somewhere, Walmart, and get a timer and say when that bell rings, that's when you move. I'm teaching them the ebb and flow of the school day. So don't get mad. It's just not about you. And I used to have them really laughing. I said, I said, long time ago, if somebody asked me to take my shoes off, I would say it's racial profiling. No, you take your shoes off. Otherwise, you're going to the back room. Take your freaking shoes off. So, you're telling them all of that, and so then they get it. And so we're laughing because I find you can stick things in, make people laugh, but they get a message out of that.
Absolutely. Dr. Edwards, where can we find your book, and can you repeat the title again?
The title is New Ways to Engage Parents, Strategies and Tools for Teachers and Leaders K-12. It can be ordered off of Amazon. It's published by Teachers College Press. And I'm extremely excited to share that Delta Kappa Gamma International Society gave my book the Educator Book Award. And I'm extremely excited about that.
Wow, congratulations.
And Delta Kappa Gamma, of course, has councils all over this country and several countries outside of the U.S. So I received that book award, the 2017 Educator Book Award.
It's amazing.
And there are chapters of Delta Kappa Gamma in the state of Michigan, too.
Ah. Well, Dr. Edwards, it was a pleasure interviewing you. I absolutely was enthralled, and I was engaged the entire time. We really appreciate it. I want to give you some open space, though. Is there anything that you would like to say or let the listeners know?
Well, one of the things that we want to do is move parent involvement from high rhetoric to high practice. We want to look very closely at our student population, whether we are in a urban, suburban, rural districts. We definitely need to study our student populations as well as our parent populations. And I do think that the book that I just wrote, in fact, I wrote a lot of books. I wrote A Path to Follow, Learning to Listen to Parents. That's one book by Heinemann. I wrote a book entitled Bridging Literacy and Equity, so I can give that list of books to you that you can share with people that are interested in this work. Also, this is not just research, it's actually research and practice that I've worked on. I've been working with the Connecticut Department of Education, and they adopted my book as an open choice book club book. And I've been working with a colleague of mine, Susan Piazza, at Western Michigan, and she's been working with some teachers around this book. And this book has been a bestseller on the Teachers College Press list for the last year. So I'm extremely excited about that.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't wait to see you at the Michigan Reading Association Conference in Detroit, Michigan. What is your session going to be about?
Exactly, about new ways to engage parents. I will be talking about that at my session, and I'll be doing it on Saturday and Sunday.
And there's another session I think that you were going to do too.
Yes, one of my colleagues, Bethany Walensky, is going to be talking about preschool policies and relating a lot of those policies to the state of Michigan. And I'm excited about that because back in the day when we had Rich Long as our legislative policy person, we were always involved with state policy issues as well as national policy issues. And I think that Bethany will be talking about Michigan policy issues as well as policy issues around the country related to preschool literacy or early literacy. As the MRA representative between universities and MRA, I want to keep that going, having university people that are doing research to talk about the policies related to that research, and they can inform our membership.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and safe travels.
Okay, thank you so much. You have a great day.
Thank you. You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.